Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful framework for building a brand that doesn't just succeed, but actually endures for generations. It's all about this idea of running your brand less like a chaotic startup and more like a stable, powerful country.
So let's just start with this one, kind of radical idea. Stop thinking like a founder who's just hustling and putting out fires. Instead, start thinking like a president. Now, this isn't about doing everything yourself. It's the exact opposite. It's about establishing order and actually governing your brand with real intention.
So what we're talking about here is a whole new model for leadership. The idea is to swap out that frantic, feeling-driven chaos you see in so much of startup culture and replace it with the deliberate, disciplined structure of a well-run government. It's a huge shift from being just a personality to building a true institution.
And the framework for this is built on a really clear, direct translation. A government's presidency, well, that becomes your brand's leadership model. A nation's constitution becomes your brand doctrine. And the idea of a national interest translates perfectly to your brand's long-term interest. It's a really clean one-to-one mapping that makes it all click.
Okay, so first things first. Every stable nation is built on a set of unbreakable laws, right? A constitution. And your brand needs one too. This is going to be its founding document, the source code that dictates every single decision you make from here on out.
The preamble, this sets the entire tone for everything. It's a declaration of intent. It's basically you saying, hey, listen, we're not here to chase what's viral or what's popular this week. We are building an institution, something that's designed to outlive its founder.
And here's the first and maybe the most important law. Your core beliefs, your doctrine, are completely non-negotiable. They override everything else: aesthetics, speed, pressure from the outside world. Look, your tactics can change, of course, but the doctrine, that's permanent.
Now, this article is so critical because it creates emotional detachment. As the founder, you have to remember that you serve the brand. The brand doesn't serve your ego. It means that even if you're personally having a terrible day, the office of the brand has to remain calm and strategic. This is all about playing the long game. And what that really means is you have to be willing to accept a short-term loss if it secures your brand's position in the future. You're not building for today's applause. You're building for a lasting legacy. I love this one. This article basically establishes an unwavering commitment to your own standards. Quality isn't just a goal you shoot for, it's a constitutional mandate. Any product, any post, any action that dilutes what your brand stands for is, by this definition, illegal.
All right, so you've established the law of the land with your constitution. Now you need an executive branch to actually carry it out, and this is where the brand cabinet comes in.
And these aren't just job titles you hand out to different people. These are critical mindsets that you, as the brand president, have to adopt to govern effectively. Every single department has a very clear mandate, and here's the key. Decisions are not based on feelings. So, first up is your inner Secretary of Treasury. This is the voice of pure, cold financial logic. This mindset is in charge of pricing, cash flow, risk assessment, and it asks that one tough question. Does this move make financial sense, even if it gets zero public praise? Then you've got your Secretary of Defense. Think of this role as your internal enemy hunter. Its only job is to protect the brand symbol and its integrity. This is the part of you that enforces quality control and, maybe most importantly, says a firm no to bad ideas that could weaken the brand. Your Secretary of State, this mindset handles all external messaging, partnerships, media, the whole shebang. And the key here is that this role speaks for the brand with a single authoritative voice. It doesn't just ramble about the brand, it projects certainty and control. Now, this is a really fascinating way to think about creativity. The Secretary of Culture controls the visual language, the symbolism, but it's not a free-for-all. All that creativity has to operate within the strict boundaries set by the brand's doctrine. That's how you ensure aesthetic continuity and really control the meaning of your brand.
So, you've got your constitution, you've got your cabinet of mindsets, but when it's time to make a really tough call, how do you, the president, make that final decision with clarity and authority?
You use this simple but incredibly powerful filter. Every single decision you make has to pass through these 4 questions. It forces you to check against your long-term goals, your core laws, whether you're building real substance or just chasing hype, and of course, your own emotional biases.
And if an idea fails even one of those 4 tests, the answer is a simple, non-negotiable no. And this isn't some emotional outburst or a creative tantrum, no. It's a calculated presidential veto. and you're using it to protect the future of your brand state.
So, how does this all come together in the end? Well, the goal is to build something that truly endures. Something that's going to outlive trends, technology, and even its own founders.
You know, the entire purpose of setting up this whole governmental system is to force you to prioritize what actually matters for the long haul. You have to consistently choose legacy over clout, real infrastructure over fleeting attention, and long-term survival over any short-term emotional wins.
This means you really learn to operate with two different faces. Publicly, the brand projects this sense of vision, confidence, and calm authority. But privately, behind the scenes, you are a cold, rational operator, making decisions based on hard numbers, honest audits, and just ruthless prioritization.
Ultimately, this entire framework really just boils down to a single question for your own brand. I want you to take a hard look at the decisions you make every day and just ask yourself, are you building for attention or are you truly governing